Hi there and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to get into episode 6 of volume 13 of my Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks scrapbooks. And we're next to the last on Behind the Mask, which went kind of quickly, unfortunately. Kind of sad to see it go. I really like this era and certainly thought I had a lot more. I digress. I do. It's right over here. It's just out of view. It's just waiting to be put together. And if you've heard me say it, I'll say it again. This way you know that we'll have plenty of videos to go, because when I finish all this up, I'll just be kind of starting over again with all the pages that I made back from 1975 or earlier, all the way up to where we're at again. So don't even worry about it. Today we're going to start out with a really neat article from, do I say that all the time? I do. I think that's part of my line. From the Times Union, not sure, a unique article on Mick Fleetwood, which looks in fact like I may not have all of it, which bums me the hell out. 4C, let's see. Yeah, possibly that's it. Nice picture of Mick. Not one of his better ones, but a nice picture. And I think that the remainder of the Mick is just right here. But this was one of the really nice ones that I did have signed by him. I was thinking to make a little video. I brought this poster from storage, which you heard me talk about a couple of videos ago. But I brought another piece from one of the times when I met Mick, actually a couple pieces. And I'm wondering if I kind of want to do that video where I talk about him and all the stuff I had signed by him in one concentrated video closer to the time when it happened, kind of like in real time. Like I'm in 1990, and when this happened with Mick, I want to say this happened in 2005 or 6 possibly. I think it was after Say You Will, or maybe just, it's hard to say. Anyway, so I kind of don't want to do it, but then I'm going to have to go back through the photo albums and pull these pictures, because this is something I had signed by him at that time. But I'm fairly confident that the photo is around 1990, 1991 possibly. And this is a really nice photo. This is a great photo of Mick. I've shown you one already from 1987 with Ashanti, the one that had a little bit of water damage on it, that he'd wanted a copy of. And then I think I talked about the poster, and the poster that I talked about in that video is the one that I did bring back from storage. So there definitely will be a concentrated, a video fully of that whole meeting, and lots of fun pictures and story. Not Stevie content, but still, it's pretty cool. This was a really interesting article. I remember when this first came out, this was around the time Mick was talking about him being dyslexic, which I know he talked about in his book, but I've seen, a lot of it coming out, that was really kind of a topic of discussion. Just not too many rock stars at the time were talking about, disabilities, and it is a disability, it's a simple one. But, being a musician and stuff like that is just something that I guess you just normally wouldn't expect. But he did talk about that a lot in a lot of articles that had come out around that time. Here's a little random picture of Stevie. But this, yeah, such a handsome photo of Mick there. More Mick content. This was him. He did a signing for his book, and unfortunately, I didn't know about it at that time, which is dumb. I don't know why. I was probably back in Stockton for a short period of time around the time when this book came out. But nice enough, my girlfriend gave me her signed stuff. These were at Tower Records, obviously, from the flyer. And her friends were taking all the flyers down. And amongst everything else that they had signed by Mick, they were having those flyers signed. So that was kind of funny. So there's one flyer signed by him, and then some miscellaneous articles about him in the book. And this says Tower Records, October 11th. Yeah. And then this was another one signed in a different location. Same flyer, different spot. And then he had a big thing up on the wall at Tower Records, and at the end he was signing it, which is funny. I remember seeing this picture and not knowing, like, that's weird. Like, what the hell are they going to do with something so big? I work at Comic-Cons, and they always have those big flyers. I don't know if any of you have been. I'm sure probably a lot of you have, but they have these big posters kind of like that above their booths where all the artists are. And after every Comic-Con, when they're done, they have the artist, whoever's in that booth, sign the poster. going forward, they're usually like either reused at the con keeps it, or they sell them to charities, or auction them, or they do a multitude of things with them. But I can best bet that Tower Records was probably doing the same thing. But initially, you see something that large, and you're like, what in the heck are they going to do with that? But it is pretty cool. And whoever has that, that's kind of a cool thing to have, because you can see how darn big it is. More articles about Mick and the book, and boy, I talked about it in the book part when I talked about the book, but what a bombshell, right? Just, can you remember? I mean, how many of you remember when that book came out? Just, yeah. And funny enough, too, it's the beginning of like reality TV in a sense. I mean, come on. People had plenty of tell-all books and such, you know what I mean? And, so he's not unusual. And there's plenty of rock stars with even more sordid stories than Mick Fleetwood had, though there's a lot of, stuff in there. But I guess it's just such a big deal to hear from the band leader, all those stories. And I just remember everybody had a story and everybody was talking about it. Beautiful article, nice full page spread out of, I forget which magazine. Seems like it was a UK one. I did tear this one apart, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's all together. It's all preserved. Another great photo of Stevie. Those little tinted pieces there. I would love to see proof sheets of this session. Something I'm kind of surprised actually hasn't come down the pike. And this is kind of the remainder of the article. To get it all to fit, I've kind of had to shape it differently, but then this is an unusual little like keychain type thing that somebody had made. The unique picture of Stevie. Next up, we have a little hodgepodge, another one of those music magazine type of situations here. This, I believe, was out of, no, that's a photo. That might have been a copy. It seems to me like this was a picture that was in a, I think I showed it in my magazines, Vox, V-O-X. Was it that or M? Something like that. It seems like this might be a copy from that photo, from that magazine. Anyway, you have the music magazine thing here, and you have the little insert talking about the album. Talked about having those catalogs was such a big deal. This is a really cool picture here. Then back to those kind of phantom ones that I have. There's some really great shots. Again, they're really tiny. They're kind of faded. They're kind of far away, but I sure like them. I feel very, very fortunate to have these. They're the only ones, The person who had them doesn't have their negatives anymore, so that's it. So they're really unique. I wish they hadn't all been cut down, but to cut them down kind of brings more to the focus. But it would have been cool with today's technology to scan them in and see if I could get them. I still could, these little ones, but yeah. I think that might be a duplicate. This is a rather short video. I didn't mean for it. I forgot there was nothing on this side. I think there might have been a large photo in here, and I don't know why that's not in there where it's at. But that'll do it. We have one more episode, and it's just as well because the last one I had to double check on photos, and because I had made that error before of showing a friend's photos, so I had to make sure that these ones that I had did not belong to my friend, and or that it was okay to show them. So the last video that I'm going to end the Tango in the Night book with, was a video that should have been earlier on. The portion of the pages kind of went earlier with other ones. But you'll really like that, and it'll be a better note to end on than it would have been kind of this kind of, kind of quiet, all the Mick Fleetwood stuff. But it's still great stuff. I love it. I'm super happy. Again, until I go through it, I forgot about all these autographs. But this one in particular, this is really a favorite. This is one I would take back out maybe in a frame. That's a really nice picture. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this one. We got one more episode of Behind the Mask, and then we'll get started with some Time Space and some 1992 and some Lindsay, and then kind of into Street Angel. And I think about that time, I think I'm going to intersperse some of these videos with, I'm coming up to a point where I have like my concert pictures from shows that I had gone to. Really, they start after 94. There's not too much that I have prior to that, but I'm going to start maybe kind of, before I finish all my photo albums, scrapbooks up. I think I'm going to kind of elongate them a little bit, because I'm starting to run out of them. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, we're only at 1990, so I have quite a bit more to go, but I still want to kind of, step in there. And like if I'm at 2003 or 1997 or whatever, and I went to a show and had pictures and a story, I'd kind of like to put those in there. And I have another surprise that I'm hoping to get some people that were involved with Fleetwood Mac, like directly involved in, and bring you some content there. So stick around. I've got so much more to go. But if you're enjoying Behind the Mask, like I said, we got one more episode. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. We'll see you next time. Bye.